In the summer of 2008, the Guilford County Schools Board of Education decided to honor me by selecting me as the superintendent of Guilford County Schools. It was a great honor. In fact, because I am a non-educator, it was a tremendous risk that the board was taking to select me. Guilford County Schools has 72,000 students at the time, and to be able to lead the school district as a non-educator was going to be a tremendous task. I really felt like coming into that position, I needed to do a lot of listening and learning. And so we actually created a process where I did exactly that. We called it Mo Wants to Know. And it really was this opportunity for me to get out into the community, listen to students and parents and teachers and community members and leaders about where the school system was at that time and what they had hoped would happen under my leadership over the coming years. We set that out to be basically about a 100-day listening and learning effort that would then lead to the development and launch of a strategic plan. As I went around the community, it was amazing how many people would talk about adequate yearly progress, which was a way of measuring schools and the academic performance of students in schools under the federal No Child Left Behind Act. It was just amazing how many people would talk about that, parents and students and teachers, which in some ways is not surprising because the nation and the state certainly was trying to move to a place where schools were performing, students were performing better on academic measures. So not surprising, but in some ways a bit troubling to me that that was felt like the sole thing that was being discussed. We certainly looked at a lot of data. We certainly looked at a lot of documents. We started to think about what did we want for our school system. And I remember reading lots of articles, one of which one article that I read was an article that was written by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he was a student at Morehouse College. So this is in 1947, and he's sort of explaining in a relatively short article what the purpose of education actually is. And he really explained that it's got both a practical purpose and a moral purpose. So it's more than simply academic achievement and gaining knowledge. It is also developing character. And for whatever reason, that sort of stuck with me in a way that other articles perhaps didn't. It sort of said to me, well, maybe we ought to lift that up. In fact, I thought that that's what my educational experience was like, and thought it still was important to think about that happening in today's world. Now, as a non-educator, here I come in saying, well, maybe we need to think about more than academic outcomes, and didn't know how that would play in our community. Ultimately decided to go forward because I really felt like Dr. King had hit on a point that was so crucial to the way we ought to be educating our children. And so decided that we'd go a whole different direction, that we would make academic achievement and character development equally as important. And so in our strategic plan, you will see on the very cover of it that we say and use a quote from Dr. King that says, intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. And so that was in our strategic plan that was launched in 2009. It was also the one that we continued in our second strategic plan in 2012. So it was a big change for the district, certainly lots of growth that needed to still needs to happen under that sort of switch. But it was remarkable that the community bought in, that the students and teachers staffs, they bought in. And to the point that Guilford County Schools was recognized as a state and national district of character. And so many students throughout the district did such amazing work with regards to the development of their character that was largely done through service learning activities. That was something that we embedded into the way that we instructed our students and encouraged them to take their learnings out into the community and provide service. So I would say that it was, certainly there were many other comments and things that we read, but it was that article that sort of crystallized for me how important it was for us to think about education beyond doing well on assessments. And that's not to suggest that that's not important, because it is, but it's not sufficient. And so I give so much credit to someone presenting to me that article and suggesting maybe this is the way we ought to go, that we ought to think about it the way Dr. King in 1947 thought about the purpose of education.